Now on News 6, new impacts uncovered if the president were to get rid of FEMA.
I do have to say FEMA is a big disappointment.
The FEMA program currently helping 500,000 people a year. Plus, keeping school resource officers on the job in Orange County. The deal one city is approving to make it all happen. And how the Magic are preparing for Game 2 of their playoff series against the Celtics. This is News 6 Mornings.
Hey, good morning on your Wednesday at 7 a.m. I'm Crystal Moyer.
I'm Justin Mormouth, Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos.
Hello.
Back with us.
Yes.
With your forecast. Wow, I don't want to take your thunder, Candace, but
Go
boy,
for
oh
it.
boy, what a beautiful shot outside. I can see what you're teasing here in a second.
Pretty. Your friend's in the shot, too.
All right, let's take into the maps. Show you what's
Mr.
going on.
Crane. Hey.
Hey, this
Facing
Crane.
the other way.
This Crane. Why is it right always over my sunrise? Every time, guys. I gotta move. All right, let's take a live look outside. Cape Canaveral Lunch Credit Union camera beyond. Did we name him?
I don't
Name
know.
him something.
We
All
should name him.
We have to. Someone send me something creative. All right, let's talk about those temperatures. We're at 60 degrees right now, mostly clear skies right now. A little bit of a haze just along our coastline, but throughout the day, your highs are going to be maxing out back into those low 80s along the coast. Further inland, different story. So as the kids are running out the door this morning on this Wednesday, nearing 90 for your high today. Under partly cloudy skies, it will be a hotter day than what we have been seeing. So the last time we hit 90s, I think it was like the first week of April. I think we're going to be hitting 90 again, not only for today, but possibly again this weekend. So this temperature trend is going to be staying well above average. You can see here, this is for the end of April and into the beginning of May. You can see all of the Sunshine State and across the deep south still running well above average. Now the question is okay, we get it. We know it's going to be hot. We live in Florida. It's April, but we need the rain. At this point in time, most of our modeling isn't picking up much in the way of rain until possibly Monday and Tuesday. But even with that, notice our rain chances not very high and not a lot of it. At this point, though, we'll take whatever we can get. We'll have more details, though, on the timing of the rain and a look at the weekend forecast coming up in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Krista Moore. She's watching those roads for you on this Wednesday.
It's been a crazy morning for Champions Gate. We had some construction lingering into the 6 o'clock hour along I-4 heading westbound. Now you see those cones pushed off to the side, but you see those flashing lights off to the right-hand shoulder. That's the road ranger. Move over, give them plenty of space, or slow down. If you're heading eastbound, that's where we're seeing those normal morning delays. You're moving around 45 miles per hour as you get closer to the celebration area, 50 miles per hour. Your drive times 38 minutes along I-4 eastbound between Champions Gate and 408. Tack on 2 minutes if you're trying to get from John Young Parkway to 408.
Breaking overnight, a crash involving a police cruiser is under investigation in Daytona Beach. Witnesses tell us a person riding a skateboard was hit late last night along South Clyde Morris Boulevard, right outside of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. We saw a police SUV with a dent in the front. At this point, though, investigators aren't confirming exactly what happened or the extent of the injuries. We will let you know as soon as we get more updates on that. Also breaking right now, this one in West Orange County, a large power outage happening right now in the Horizon West area. According to Duke's outage map, about 12,000 customers have no power right now. The company isn't saying what caused the outage, but we have heard from some customers who say their lights have now come back on. So we'll let you know as soon as we get some more updates on that. Some tense moments at the school board meeting in Brevard County. Parents and students coming to the defense of a teacher who was about to lose her job at the end of the year.
Yeah, the district says that she violated the state's parental rights and education law, but critics say what's happening to her just isn't fair. News 6's Mark Lehman is following the latest live this morning. And Mark, things got so heated, the board had to go into recess.
Yeah, they had to pause the meeting here a couple of times because of the crowd. Most of the room was filled with supporters of the teacher as they told the school board she shouldn't be let go.
I rise to address agenda item 15, the contract of Ms. Melissa Calhoun.
It wasn't on the agenda, but dozens took over part of last night's Brevard County School Board meeting in support of Satellite High School teacher Melissa Calhoun.
It was not a bad decision, and nobody needs to be retrained.
Just before the meeting, there was a protest outside the school board chambers over a decision to not renew Calhoun's contract. The district says she admitted to addressing a student by a name other than their legal name without parental consent, which is a violation of the state's parental rights in education law.
I don't know what else to call it but injustice. It's hard to speak about this without cliches, but it's ridiculous. We have a wonderful teacher being respectful toward a student, helping her students feel comfortable and appreciated so they can learn.
While many disagree with the district's decision, Superintendent Mark Rendell tells News 6 his hands are tied.
We follow all of our policies and procedures. If a teacher commits an act that requires discipline, then we're going to issue the discipline that's appropriate.
Last night, one school board member made a motion for the superintendent to reconsider, but that was voted down 4-1. So at this point, Calhoun will serve out the remainder of her tenure at Satellite High School, but not return in the fall. For now, reporting live in Brevard County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Thank you, Mark. This morning, this Orange County man is facing charges accused of pretending to be a police officer, even pulling over an innocent driver, and it turns out it's not the first time he has done that. Police in Winter Garden say 60-year-old Albert Dolan conducted a bogus traffic stop on Monday off Stony Brook Parkway. Investigators say he was driving a Ford Explorer equipped with light bars and a push bar, making it look like an unmarked unit. Now, we have reported on Dolan before after he was accused of doing almost the exact same thing back in 2018. In fact, police say this is his fourth arrest for impersonating a law enforcement officer. We checked, and Dolan is now out of jail after posting bond.
Another round of protests in Titusville as family and friends of a man shot and killed by police demand more answers about what happened. 25-year-old Shamari A. Charles was killed by officers more than 2.5 months ago after they say he dropped and then picked up a handgun. Just this week, we learned the FDLE wrapped up its investigation into the shooting, but Charles's family says they still haven't seen the body camera video from the night of the violence.
How would you feel if a back shooting cop shot one of your kids in the back and you didn't see the video for almost 3 months? Think about it. The video needs to be released of the Charles back shooting today. The mayor of this city needs to resign.
The purpose of the FDLE coming in is so that we don't investigate ourselves. The investigation has taken an inordinate amount of time. Chief Lau spoke with Ms. Charles on yesterday and assured her that she would be the first one to see, and we're hoping, we have no control over.
Great. The FDLE is expected to forward its report to police after an in-house review, but there's no word on how long that could take. New this morning, police in Oviedo have a new clue as to they try to find whoever vandalized a daycare bus at the Oviedo Mall. Take a look at your screen. Investigators say they found evidence inside the bus that may belong to the two people you see here. Police say the break-in and vandalism caused $15,000 in damage. They also say 2 more buses belonging to the business O2B Kids were targeted a few days later, but it's not known if the cases are related. If you know anything, call Oviedo Police. More than 2/3 of Floridians are very concerned about hurricanes increasing in strength and frequency. That's according to a new survey from Florida Atlantic University.
And when those natural disasters hit, many turn to FEMA for help. And new data shows how the agency dissolving could impact recovery here in the Sunshine State. It's been a very hot topic. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez joins us now live to break this all down. Stephanie.
If FEMA acts like Governor Ron DeSantis and the Trump administration want, a new report says that disaster relief would be a heavy lift for Florida to handle all on its own.
I do have to say FEMA is a big disappointment.
President Donald Trump has said he wants to gut FEMA, leaving disaster relief to the states. A report from the Carnegie Disaster Dollar Database found that if FEMA's Individuals and Households program were to disappear, the state would have to respond to the 500,000 people who apply for the program annually. There are hundreds of thousands of applicants in Central Florida. Since 2021, there have been over 103,000 in District 7 and just above 96,000 in District 10.
I prefer FEMA instead of the government.
Those that live on streets that flood, like David Piotrowski, who is right on Lake Jessup, say FEMA is vital.
It's an uncontrollable reaction when a hurricane hits because there's nothing you can do. and you have to go out and get help.
Over the past decade, the program has given an average of $3,398 to 1.7 million households in Florida. Despite the potential challenges, Governor Ron DeSantis told me last week he's confident the state is up to the task.
Yes.
What's the message to people who worry they might not get help as fast as possible if that were to happen?
We don't rely on FEMA. We do it. We lead. We got local partners. We got the best emergency management team.
Now, to handle all of those requests, the state would also need the necessary infrastructure. So think call centers, an online portal, and of course, employees. Reporting live in Orlando, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Stephanie, thanks. With just 8 days left in the legislative session, several Florida State University students joined House Democrats in the Capitol yesterday. They're calling for stricter gun control following last week's deadly shooting on FSU's campus. The students are asking the legislature to expand red flag laws, create stronger safe storage laws for guns inside homes, and to provide additional funding to harden college campuses.
Because of a lack of proactive planning and poor policy at the hand of our legislators, there are 2 people who are dead who shouldn't be, 6 people in the hospital who shouldn't be, thousands of students who no longer feel safe on campus, and a community that is still reeling.
FSU students, meantime, have started a petition calling for physical locks on doors around the campus. However, school officials have responded, saying buildings have an electronic lock system that is activated daily after 5 and during emergency situations. Students also say they should be better trained on lockdown drills.
New this morning, the Orange County School District is moving ahead with a plan to use an outside company to try and boost enrollments. We told you about this yesterday morning. Problem is, for every student who moves to a charter or a private school, the district loses more than $8,900 in state funding. So under this new partnership, the company will get $935 for every student it gets to return. So if they can get 1,000 students back, that's about $8 million in revenue. The superintendent calls the move a new avenue to promote the district and highlight the opportunities that are available.
All right, turning back to your weather now, Candace. You know what's ironic? I have hand warmers on.
I know.
But
I
it's
just
warm
left mine.
outside. Should we let's just go outside.
It's freezing in the studio, but the heat is on all across Central Florida, outside for the rest of us here in Central Florida, beyond the studio. Right now, we are in the mid-60s, pretty much area-wide, although Lake County, Leesburg, Claremont, Mount Verde right now seeing temperatures still in the 70s at this hour. You never dropped below that 70-degree mark. And then along our coastline, we're holding at 59 in Palm Coast, 64 in New Smyrna, same in Melbourne. Now throughout the day, the winds are going to continue to pick up. It does every afternoon, primarily out of the east-southeast, kicking up between about 15 to 20 mile-per-hour wind gusts. And that, of course, is going to continue to increase our chance for a little bit of a cloud cover this afternoon. Taking a live look outside, Daytona Beach, a beautiful, serene live look right now. We're at 63 degrees right now. The wind gusts are only at 5. So if you ask me, it's going to be a fantastic beach forecast if you have the opportunity to enjoy it. Our breeze, again, out of the southeast. The surf only about 1 to 2 feet. But that ocean breeze will be bringing a little bit of cloud cover. Not a lot, partly cloudy skies, but it will be keeping temperatures for you guys along the coastline in those low 80s, but about 10 degrees warmer the further inland you go today. Could have a couple 90s popping off this afternoon. We'll have more details on how much longer it's going to be until we finally get some rain back into the forecast coming up in just a little bit. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Candace. The time now 7:13. Food manufacturers must now change the ingredients used to make some of the most popular snacks.
For companies that are currently using petroleum-based red dye, try watermelon juice or beet juice.
Straight ahead, the FDA's plan to push food dye off store shelves, all in the name of your health.
Plus, Magic fans hoping for a turnaround as the team gets ready for Game 2 of its playoff series with the Celtics. We have a preview in Boston. The makers of popular snacks like Cheetos and Skittles will now have to find an alternative to keep products on store shelves.
Yeah, this comes after the Trump administration announced food manufacturers would have to phase out petroleum-based dyes. It's being called the Make America Healthy Again initiative, led by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The dyes are in many popular grocery store items, but in Canada, Europe, and other parts of the world, these products are made with natural coloring alternatives. FDA Commissioner Marty McCary says removing dyes is not a silver bullet in stopping childhood health problems, but it's a step in the right direction.
We have a food addiction problem. In fact, obesity is in part a food addiction manifestation. And so the problem is not better willpower. The problem is examining the ingredients that are making food so addictive.
The FDA is hoping to eliminate synthetic dyes from the food supply by the end of next year.
The Orlando Magic counting down to Game 2 of their playoff series against the Boston Celtics. Didn't go the Magic's way in Game 1, of course, but both players and fans are hopeful for a turnaround tonight. News 6 Sports Director Jamie Say in Boston now with a preview.
I'm inside Boston's TD Garden, but outside the three-point arc where the Celtics earn their living, whether it's Derek White hitting threes from the corner or Peyton Pritchard pulling up from the wing in transition or simply Jason Tatum knocking them in from straight away. The Celtics buried 16 threes in their Game 1 win. That's 6 more than the Magic. And in a 17-point game, those points make all the difference.
We got to try to play 48 minutes of being physical, getting after them guys, playing fast.
We were at Magic practice as the guys worked on their shots to try to get a more balanced offense for Game 2. Paolo and Franz combined for 59 in Game 1, but the rest of the Magic scored only 27, and that's not going to beat the Celtics.
Offensively, we got to get it going. We can't have that whole offensive load being on P and Franz. We got to come kick in too. So that's what I'm here to do.
Everyone's feeling good. I think we watched the film over a Game 1 and saw what we did wrong, saw what we did right. So I think we can clean up, a lot of that.
We just got to continue to stick with the game plan, clean up a few mistakes, take care of the ball. And you saw the first half we had, that second quarter we had good flow, good movement, ball was popping side to side. So just making sure we stay focused for the full 48.
Game 2 tips off tonight at 7 o'clock. In Boston, Jamie Say, News 6.
And keep it here. Jamie will have live updates from Boston later today on News 6. Meantime, the team is hosting a watch party for fans, multiple of those. They're going to be at 3 different spots at Caribe Royale on World Center Drive, Wall Street Plaza in downtown Orlando, and the Social House on Alafaya. They all start at 6:30 ahead of 7 o'clock tip-off.
Let's get that W.
Let's do it.
Trending this morning, a blast from the past. Today marks the birth of YouTube.
How about that?
Do you know what that is? 20 years ago today, the very first YouTube video was uploaded. The video was a 19-second clip featuring one of the 3 YouTube co-founders.
What was that guy doing?
Wait, that's not it. So the that was the guy
he was doing his business.
Is that Psy?
Gangnam
yes,
Style.
that is Gangnam Style. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm distracted. All right, so YouTube was a very fast success. Just 18 months later, it would be sold to Google for $1.65 billion worth of stock. It's probably worth a lot more now. And all of that happened when you could only watch on a computer screen and go dun, 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 dun.
I don't know. What is your first memory, though, of YouTube? What was the first YouTube video? Was it that Gangnam Style? That wasn't mine.
No, that was before
I think mine was like, let's get some shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Shoes.
Yeah.
Shoes.
That was like,
oh my gosh,
there's so many. And there's some funny things because sometimes my husband and I will say like this one liner. We're like, man, that's from like the OG YouTube time. Yeah.
Some core memories there.
Yeah, seriously.
Remember back in the day when it took like 10 years to get 1 million views? And now it's like 5 minutes.
Yeah, when you upload your first
if
YouTube
you upload
video,
the right thing.
You thought the world was all going to watch, and then, it didn't. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast across the area.
That was when we had to take our digital cameras and plug it in, upload it, and now you just do it from your phone.
You blink, and it just like naturally just does it. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast. 20 years, huh?
We're old.
All right, let's talk about the weather forecast across and they only sold it for $1 billion.
That's a heck of a return on investment.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. Here's what we can expect over the next couple of days. Listen, it's going to be hot. It's going to be dry. There's no way of kind of beating the heat and the dry weather. Now, the good news is we could finally start to see a hint of some rain back into the forecast until starting Sunday and Monday. So we'll have about a 20 to 30%. So Until then, though, we are still looking at an elevated fire risk for all of Central Florida until further notice. Now, we don't need just a hint of rain. We need a couple of days of those afternoon showers to really start adding some more rain to what looks to be very dry rain gauges all across Central Florida. So let's talk about those temperatures right now. It's a mild start. It's going to be a comfortable day. Don't let the dry fire weather concern dampen how nice the weather is going to be. That's because we have a big ridge of high pressure in control, and that's going to continue to keep us on the warmer than normal side. Now, with that being said, it might be hot, but at least it's a dry-ish heat in the forecast. So our humidity numbers are going to be low. So at least it will be feeling comfortable, even though it will be warm. Now let's check on that hour-by-hour forecast for your Wednesday. We are nearing 90 degrees this afternoon. We're still looking mostly sunny. We do have just enough of a breeze in place this afternoon that will be keeping our coastal communities about 10 degrees cooler. You guys along our beach, Flagler, Volusia, Brevard, you'll be in those 80s where more of our inland zones will be holding on into those 90s. So let's talk about the potential. Fingers crossed that we get some rain in the forecast. It is going to be kind of a stretch to see beneficial rain, but at this point we'll get whatever we can take, right? You can see we will see that weak front make its way a little further south. We will be tapping into some of that moisture. So the rain chances will start bumping up a bit come Sunday and into Monday. The good news is beyond that, moving into like the beginning of May is when we could start to trend a little wetter in the forecast. So that is something that we're going to be looking forward to, again, as we kick off the month of May. But as of right now, though, Daytona Beach looking at the second driest April on record. Many of our other locations seeing their top 10 driest April. So as we take you here, throughout the next couple of days, our forecast is going to continue to look hot and dry until, well, further notice. Now let's check on those roadways with Krista Moyer. She is watching those roads this morning for Trooper Steve, and she got your News 6 traffic update. So far, so good. No major crashes to report. So let's head on over to Sumter, Lake, and Marion counties. Good morning. If you're traveling along the Turnpike or along I-75, you are delay-free. Here are your drive times. If you're on the Turnpike between I-4 and I-75, allow 41 minutes. Allow just 19 minutes once you hop on the I-75 between the Turnpike and the State Road 40 exit near Ocala. A new deal when it comes to maintaining safety in local schools.
Coming up at the bottom of the hour, the vote expected to happen today to keep resource officers on campus.
But first, pushing to make your daily commute easier. Straight ahead, where you could soon experience a rideshare service like none we've seen before.
Right now, Seminole County is planning to give its Lynx service a total overhaul.
And that could include plans for a new rideshare service. About $17 million is what the county spends on Lynx service right now. But county commissioners say there's not enough people using it to justify that cost. As a solution, commissioners discussed yesterday reducing or eliminating service for unpopular routes. To make up for those cuts, they want to add microtransit options.
You are not losing transportation. The transportation option is being modified. You will not be standing out at a bus stop in the heat or in the rain waiting for a bus that may or may not be on time, taking you to where you may not even want to go.
Sounds like a win-win to me. The service could be ready to use as soon as October.
Still to come, keeping students safe at dozens of local schools.
The new deal just reached when it comes to resource officers, and the city set to vote on the agreement in just hours.
Live with ClickOrlando.com. You're watching News 6 Mornings.
Good morning, Central Florida. I'm Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos taking a live look outside. Beautiful start to the day. Right now we're at 63 degrees. Humidity is high for a few hours, but will continue to dry out throughout the afternoon. So temperatures in the meantime, it's a mild start. We're in those 60s and 70s, continuing to rebound to near 80. But because it will be warm, it will be dry. We have enough of a breeze in place. Do expect most of Central Florida to remain elevated with fire danger for another day today. We're going to continue to stay dry and hot throughout the rest of the week. Could see a hint of rain, though, by early Monday. Now let's check on those roadways with Krista Moyer.
We're still seeing those delays heading eastbound near Champions Gate, traveling on I-4. Eastbound heading towards Celebration. You're moving around 45 miles per hour to 50 miles per hour in some pockets, and then you're moving back at speed through downtown Orlando. So here are your drive times. You're in the red between Champions Gate and 408 with a 31-minute ride. News continues next. Remember, you can get updates on our big stories anytime on ClickOrlando.com.
This portion of the news is sponsored by AK Certified Roofing. Live with ClickOrlando.com. You're watching News 6 Mornings.
7:30 now. Let's get a check of our top stories. Breaking overnight, we're waiting for investigators to confirm if anyone was hurt after a crash involving a Daytona Beach police cruiser. Witnesses say a man riding a skateboard was hit late last night right near Embry-Riddle University.
Also breaking overnight, the body of Pope Francis has been moved to St. Peter's Basilica. He'll lie in state there until his funeral on Saturday. The 88-year-old pontiff passed away Monday after suffering a stroke.
And after hours of protests and public comment, the school board in Brevard County voted not to change its mind about not renewing the contract of Wontsetret Satellite High School. She's accused of violating state law by referring to a student by their preferred name without parental consent.
All right, let's turn now to your weather. A mild start. Next chance of rain. It's going to be a few days away.
Yeah, it's unfortunate news, although it is a really nice stretch of weather. It's tough. It's tough. All right, let's get a check of that forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. If we look far enough, we're seeing a little bit of rain trying to get its way here, Candace, but
a hint.
Just not a ton.
Yeah, not a lot. And at the end of the day, we need to move officially into rainy season to finally start improving our drought concerns. On average, rainy season tends to begin towards late-ish May. It can start a little earlier, it can start a little later, but I'm hoping we can start cranking up a little bit of rain a couple times a week. That will certainly help at this point. But let's look at those temperatures right now. Not a cloud in sight across our inland zones. A few coastal clouds right now, still in the mid-60s at this point in time, almost area-wide. If you're enjoying your Wednesday, maybe at the theme parks, we got the Epic Universe. If you're one of those who are lucky enough to get into the previews this next couple weeks right now, temperatures are nearing 90 degrees this afternoon, making sure that you're finding ways of finding the shade, those misters as well. It's going to be a hot one. No rain to deal with, but look at the month so far. And you can see the majority of the month we've been either at or above average. We had a stretch of 90s to start off the month. It looks like we're going to continue to move into another round of 90s, kind of wrap up the month. But look how dry it has been so far. You can see how much rain we have only racked up. Areas like Daytona Beach has seen just 0.02 of an inch of rainfall. That is it, making it the second, as of now, driest April on record. The next question is when can we add a little bit of rain to these rain gauges? We'll have more on that coming up in just a bit. Now let's check out those roadways with Krista Moyer. She's got your News 6 traffic.
All right, we're looking pretty good out towards the coast, traveling along the beach line, heading east towards Cape Canaveral, no delays. If you're on I-95 north or southbound from Palm Bay all the way up towards Titusville, you are moving at speed. Let's take a look outside with the DOT cameras. I-4 in Anderson. This is near Metro Orlando. No delays to report there. I'll keep you updated with any traffic issues.
We're staying on top of breaking news from overnight. A police cruiser at the center of a crash investigation in Daytona Beach. In the last 5 minutes, troopers confirmed a 19-year-old man was on a skateboard and was hit last night along South Clyde Morris Boulevard right outside the campus of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Troopers say the skateboarder went onto the road even though the officer had a green light at the time. 2 Embry-Riddle students who saw the crash happen say things like this have happened before.
These intersections are not very safe, so I don't know if it's up to the city to add more lighting or the school, but
Yeah.
it needs to happen really
There's
bad.
been a few people getting hit, at least 3
in
this
this
semester.
All students.
Investigators say the 19-year-old was taken to the hospital, but is expected to be okay. The officer involved was not hurt. Also developing, parents and students coming to the support of a teacher in Brevard County who's just weeks away from losing her job.
Yeah, the community rallied yesterday at the school board meeting after the district decided not to renew a Satellite High teacher's contract, saying she violated the parental rights and education law. Critics, however, say she did nothing wrong. News 6's Mark Lehman joins us live from the school board headquarters. And Mark, how's the superintendent responding to this situation?
Well, he's basically saying the law is the law, and the district's hands are tied in this case, even though parents and students are defending the teacher's actions, leading to some tense moments here last night. Supporters of a high school teacher taking over last night's school board meeting in Brevard County.
To the student involved in all of this, you are respected. This is not your fault. You are not wrong for being affirmed. It was not a bad decision, and nobody needs to be retrained.
The board even recessed a couple times during some heated moments. It's in response to the district not renewing Melissa Calhoun's contract at Satellite High School. That was after she admitted to addressing a student by a name other than their legal name without parental consent.
Parents and students also have rights, and a student has the right to be called by whatever name they want to be called by.
The superintendent says Calhoun's actions violated the state's parental rights in education law. It requires parental consent to call a student a preferred name.
We follow all of our policies and procedures. If a teacher commits an act that requires discipline, then we're going to issue the discipline that's appropriate.
Supporters of Calhoun even holding a rally outside the school board chambers, saying the district should reconsider its decision. And with all of the public comment, last night's meeting stretched out to around 5 hours. There was a motion for the superintendent to reconsider, but that was voted down 4-1, meaning at this point Calhoun will not return for the next school year. For now, reporting live in Brevard County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Thank you, Mark. Breaking overnight, a historic farewell begins. The body of Pope Francis has been carried to St. Peter's Basilica, where he will now lie in state. The pontiff died earlier this week at the age of 88 from a stroke and heart failure. Tens of thousands expected to pay their respects at the Vatican through Saturday.
After this, it's going to be a very special place for all the pilgrims of the world.
The Pope's funeral is set for Saturday morning. Meanwhile, cardinals are preparing to choose a new pope to lead the Catholic Church. Several possible successors have already been identified, but a date for the conclave has not yet been announced.
The man accused of killing 13-year-old Madeline Soto is due back in court later today. It's all as mystery grows over claims his lawyer from his lawyers about some information connected to the case. Today's hearing is about evidence found on Stephen Stearns' cell phone that allegedly includes images of him sexually abusing the teen. Stearns' lawyers were in court yesterday trying to get today's hearing delayed, saying they had, quote, confidential information, but they refused to say what that is, even behind closed doors.
So your good cause is secret?
Essentially, Judge. Well, I can't in good faith at this time, being that it's still being explored. I don't know which way it's going to go, if it's going to be something that's going to pan out.
Since the defense provided no details, the judge found no reason to postpone today's hearing. It's set for 2, and we'll stream it live on clickorlando.com.
Happening today, Winter Park commissioners are expected to approve a deal with the Orange County School District to keep resource officers on campus. Winter Park had been one of 5 cities holding out for more funding in the agreement. News 6's Angie Casada joining us now live this morning with more on this. So how did leaders finally reach an agreement for this vote, Angie?
Hey, good morning, Justin. Yeah, this big vote here at Winter Park comes after a tense standoff, right? 5 cities are pushing back, saying that OCPS wasn't covering enough of the cost to keep police in schools. Well, the district said that it had no more money to give, and without a deal, parents feared their schools would have to turn to armed guardians instead.
Well, in an ideal world, we wouldn't need SROs. I think it depends on what the teachers are feeling like, what they need in their schools to keep their children safe, their students safe.
After months of bitter back and forth, Winter Park, along with 4 other cities, are on track to keep school resource officers on campuses. The tentative agreement spans 3 years, with OCPS agreeing to pay $73,000 per officer next school year and $75,000 by 2026-2027. Still, the cities argued they needed more. The deal only covers about 60% of each city's cost, but OCPS said it simply can't afford more and would have had to replace officers with trained guardians, something many parents felt would be less effective.
I look at funding for this as essential, and so it doesn't matter if you cut it from somewhere else. We've got to take care of our kids, and that is the biggest priority that we have as residents of Orange County, whether we have kids or not. They've got to come first, and so we've got to find the money somewhere.
Tensions boiled over in December when several police departments accused the district of politicizing a school shooting in Wisconsin to sway public opinion. There is a clause in the deal. If the state boosts funding, cities could get more, but so far that looks unlikely. Now, the other cities involved in this are Apopka, Coe, Winter Garden, and Windermere. They will also have to sign off on this agreement. Of course, we'll let you know what that comes out to be later on today. Reporting in Winter Park, Angie Casada, News 6.
Angie, thanks. In Brevard County, property owners could soon be forced to pay more to help raise pay for firefighters. We've been reporting since last summer how starting pay at Brevard County Fire Rescue can be as low as $15 an hour. Now the county is considering a 37% increase in fire assessment fees to help boost salaries. Union leaders say they've lost more firefighters than expected and that better compensation is a must.
People who have big families, we get into a lot of those issues. We've lost a lot more people than can ever have been projected.
Commissioners are expected to cast their final vote on May 20th.
Well, it comes as fire crews are needed more than ever right now with dry conditions persisting across Central Florida. In fact, Brevard County now joining the growing list of counties that have issued burn bans to try and reduce the risk. The announcement follows several brush fires reported across the county, including one in Palm Bay earlier this week. And it's not just Brevard County. Orange, Lake, Seminole, Polk, and Volusia counties all have burn bans in effect because of the dry weather we've been seeing. All right, 7:40. Let's get you back to the weather. Speaking of, with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos, I can tell you what she's not tracking, and that's some rain.
Zero rain in the forecast for the majority of Central Florida for the next several days. Now, we could start to bring back a little bit of rain come Sunday and Monday, but let's look real quick at the Keach-Bryant Drought Index, also known as the KBDI. This is what we really focus on this time of the year because we have a high evaporation rates because the sun is at a higher angle. The temperatures are warmer, but the air is still just dry enough. It doesn't have all that moisture that we tend to see during the summer months. So that tends to dry out our soil even faster this time of the year. So these numbers go from 0 to 800. 0 being the wettest of the ground, 800 being extreme droughts. Right now we're in the 500 range. Anytime we hit 500 or exceed 500, that is when counties start issuing those burn bans. So right now, Marion County is in the 500s. They have not yet triggered. They only have a voluntary burn ban right now. And Osceola County, this is the one county that is still below that 500 threshold. We will watch that. Brevard again just yesterday now issuing those burn bans. So you can see all the areas here highlighted in red indicating that no outdoor burning is allowed, but don't even throw cigarette butts out the window or park on dry grass, or at least idle on dry grass with your car, because again, the vegetation is just so dry at this point in time. You can see that there's that big swath of severe drought still encompassing a big portion of Volusia, Lake, and Sumter County. Right now, we're looking at extreme droughts now starting to grow there just south of Lake Okeechobee there in South Florida. So unfortunately, rain chances are going to look a lot like this over the next couple of days, 0 to only 10% chance. But we are going to start trending a little higher as we head into the weekend. We'll have more details on that coming up in just a little bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Crystal Moyer. She's got your News 6 traffic.
I'm building a crash graphic here. We do have a wreck reported by FHP. This is on East Colonial Drive and State Road 408. So I just want to let you know that injuries are involved in this crash, so you will see some delays building. I'm seeing it on the map if you're traveling on Colonial Drive westbound. That's where we're seeing those heavy delays building. As soon as I get some more information, I will let you know. But again, we do have rescue crews heading to the scene here, and just not far from this crash, there's another wreck reported as well. That one doesn't have any injuries.
Well, 743 paying up to bring some big-time sporting events to Orange County.
Still to come, the big money move that could turn Central Florida into a sports powerhouse.
First, though, body camera video showing the final moments before a deadly shooting involving deputies in Lake County. What investigators say led up to the gunfire. Next.
This morning, newly released body camera video is shedding light on a deadly shooting involving deputies in Lake County. The video shows the final moments of 39-year-old Eric Escobar's life. Just after midnight on April 12th, deputies responded to reports of a disturbed man yelling in the road. In the video, Escobar is seen arguing with a deputy, begging to enter a home to find someone he claims is inside.
Stop. Stop. You're going to get tased. Is that a gun?
Yes.
Okay.
I got two of them.
Put your hands up in the air right now.
We need to go in there, dude.
We're not going in there.
Please.
All right.
Please, brother, please.
Seconds later, Escobar runs toward the house, bangs on the door, and pulls out a gun. That's when the deputy fires. The people inside the house told deputies they didn't know him. The deputy is now on administrative leave as the Florida Department of Law Enforcement investigates.
The man accused of a murder more than 3 decades ago in Osceola County will stay in jail on no bond. Investigators say 72-year-old Gene Stuller killed 27-year-old Julie Sue Wilbanks back in 1991. Officers say she was found dead near his home in Kissimmee with stab wounds. The case went cold for decades until police say recently collected DNA evidence linked Stuller to the crime. Faced a judge yesterday and is now facing charges of second-degree murder.
Orange County leaders have officially approved spending nearly $30 million in tourist tax money, all to try and attract some major sporting events to Central Florida. Up to $11 million would be used to bid for the Jacksonville Jaguars to play at Camping World Stadium in 2027, while their stadium in Jacksonville undergoes renovations. Officials say the move could bring a big economic boost and believe the Jags could very likely say yes.
I believe that all of the metrics line up. There's going to be a decision to be made in terms of proximity to their fan base. But I think if we do this and put some other competitive pieces in place, I believe we'll win.
I believe that we will win.
Me too.
I believe that we, okay. The rest of the funds would target other major events, including talks with WWE and UFC.
An orphaned baby manatee is now safe and on the road to recovery after several rescue teams stepped up to get results. Here's a look at Danger, the manatee. That's his name. Spotted in Largo Sound last week. That's in the Florida Keys. A couple called in to report that he seemed to be struggling a bit, and that's when Florida's manatee rescue team, Fish and Wildlife, and the Dolphin Research Center got to work. So the calf was transported to SeaWorld Orlando, where he is getting around-the-clock care until he's strong enough to return to the wild.
Wow.
So it clearly was something that was likely the fault of humans because they don't have any natural predators. As we all know, manatees, the only predator they have is humans.
Yeah, right, us.
And the things that we do. You know, it's tough, but, you know, it seems like the numbers are going in the right direction. They had a tough stretch for a long time, but they're so important, and everyone loves manatees.
Yeah.
Great
and
part.
that's by us doing as well, right? So, you know, making sure that we are putting the good stuff into the water and making sure that when we are on the water, we're doing everything we need to.
Don't litter.
Yeah, exactly. So good to see that Danger, right? Danger is in good hands.
Austin Danger Powers.
Yeah, I know.
That's what it reminds me of.
That's what it feels like. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast. Listen, speaking of danger, we do have fire danger in effect for another stretch. Listen, guys, at the end of the day, a little rain here and there, although we, of course, will welcome all the rain that we can get at this point in time. It's just we need kind of consistent rain, and we don't normally see that until rainy season, which normally kicks in by about the end of May, around May 27th or so. It's not like a typical start of a season here. This can sometimes start early, can start later. Good news is there's some long-range models are starting to forecast a little bit of a wetter start to the month of May. So fingers crossed we can get some of that moisture worked back into the forecast. But for today, tomorrow, the day after that, it's going to be dry. All right, let's look at those temperatures out the door right now. It's a mild start. We're in those low 70s throughout Lake County, still holding on at 70. We have the Bike Fest out there in Lake County and Leesburg later on this weekend. I think the weather's going to be fantastic if you have the opportunity to take the bikes out there. Temperatures right now up and down the I-4 corridor, holding in those mid-60s. Now let's check on that hour-by-hour forecast for today. It's going to be a nice day if you are planning on heading out maybe to a playground or whatnot, making sure that there's plenty of shade. It's going to be a hot one nearing 90 degrees. Now the good news is because humidity levels will be low, once you're in the shade, it actually will feel quite comfortable out there with a mix of sun and clouds for today. It will be, though, a little warmer than where we were yesterday. Now, as we look here at the clouds and rain forecast, the sea breeze, it's trying to develop something, and models are showing maybe a little bit of cloud cover across our western zones by about 3-4 o'clock, but not enough moisture to actually produce any actual rainfall at this point in time. So we've got the sea breeze, which is good. We just don't have that moisture that we need to combine that sea breeze to start up that rainy season. I can show you here relative humidity in the 20s across our inland zones for today. But notice that onshore breeze has a little bit of moisture, just enough though that it's going to keep that fire risk a little on the lower side for our coastal communities, still elevated pretty much all across areas west of 95. Now let's talk about the possibility, fingers crossed, that we get a little bit of moisture. This is our mid-level moisture map. The gray is indicating the dry air, the green showing all that moisture, and it looks like we will have a lot more green in the vicinity over the next couple days, starting Sunday, Monday, and into Tuesday. At this point in time, rain chances, it doesn't look like this is going to be a washout or a drought denting forecast. But again, at this point, we'll take whatever little rain we can get. So you can see between Sunday and Monday, rain chances will be trending upwards about 20 to 30%. Hopefully we can trend these numbers a little higher. But in the meantime, though, rain is going to be hard to find throughout the rest of the week as temperatures, again, continue to stay well above average. Now let's check on those roadways with Krista Moyer. She's got your News 6 traffic update.
We're taking a look out over near Ocala. You're looking pretty good along I-75. I do want to talk about that crash that I just built here. There is a wreck, and it's causing some heavy delays. This one is over near East Colonial Drive and State Road 408. Now, if you're traveling, this is westbound on Colonial, you're going to see some heavy delays for a couple of miles. Injuries are involved in this crash, so we do expect a lot of those road rangers as well as rescue crews to head to that scene to help out those who were injured. And our next stop on the road is Claremont. So if you live there, we want to hear from you. What makes your community special? What are your concerns? And how can we help get results? You can let us know at clickorlando.com/hitstheroad.
Well, are you still streaming on someone else's account? Max may be coming for you. The new feature that could put a price tag on password sharing next. Kilauea is once again putting on a fiery show. Hawaii's most active volcano roared back to life, shooting lava some 650 feet into the air. The Hawaiian Volcano Observatory says the high lava fountains were erupting for just over 10 hours yesterday before abruptly stopping. Lava now covers 20% of the crater. This is episode 18 at Kilauea, which means it's the 18th phase since the current eruption began in December of 2024.
Wow, that video is incredible. Now, new this morning, the popular streaming service Max wants to crack down on password sharing. It just launched a new feature called the Extra Member Add-on. For $7.99 a month, users can now legitimately add a friend or family member outside their household to their account. The move comes as parent company Warner Brothers Discovery prepares to crack down on unauthorized account sharing. So if you're still using your cousins, your moms, your brothers' login, you know who you are. Your days may be numbered unless you're added to the plan.
And another crackdown this time when it comes to online shopping. Get those Temu and Shein orders in now before the Chinese e-commerce sites raise prices. Companies say price hikes are starting April 25th, thanks to new tariffs imposed by President Trump on Chinese imports. With China being the top clothing supplier to the U.S., economists say the cost of clothes could soon be on the rise. So in order to avoid the fees, for now, experts say to get those orders in within the next couple of days. Candace.
All right, temperatures out the door right now in the 60s. It's a mild start across the area, but throughout the day we are hitting near 90 degrees. Fire danger remains elevated across the area. Now, the good news is we're looking at the potential for a little more rain. Notice temperatures are going back down to the 80s early next week, so fingers crossed that a little bit of rain-cooled air, some added cloud cover will help. Now, is this going to completely dent out our drought concerns? Not the case. We just need a little bit of that, though, sprinkled in over the next couple of days. Crystal.
All right, taking a look at our map here. Traffic looking pretty good along I-75 if you're trying to travel near the Villages or even Ocala. No delays to report, but the Turnpike, however, we are seeing some issues there.
All right, thanks, Crystal. Thank you for joining us. We break news on clickorlando.com.
You can also find all of our stories on our News 6 Plus app for your TV.
Hope you have a great Wednesday. See you.